only take a few minutes, and I guess I'll show you guys my very messy crystal collection. Let's go. Over here, you can see this is the top of my little jewelry armoire where I have some of my crystals. I have all these little drawers that are just sort of, they pull out and they're filled with different stones. And some of them have little compartments and others don't, but you know, it's a pretty easy way to store different types of stones. And I have some cards in there with information on where I got the crystals and their original locality, where they're from. So I have lots and lots of crystals kind of stored that way. And then I have over here, this is my altar space where I have my sacred space set up with some crystal grids and some different stones that I use a lot. And down below, these are some of my crystal healing books. And there are quite a few down there. And then I have some more crystal healing books and stones over on this shelf here. And some of these are really fragile stones. I have actually there's a really cool one here on the end. That bright yellow one there is a sulfur. And I always think it looks like sort of a chrysanthemum crystal. So that's a natural sulfur crystal. I really like that guy. But some of the much more fragile pieces I keep up here out of containers. I usually recommend storing your crystals in natural materials when possible. So I have the wooden chest here that I use for a lot of the crystals that are really energetically sensitive. But when you've been doing healing work with stones for as long as I have, you end up with a lot of crystals. I mean, so many crystals. I literally have thousands. This is not the best thing to do, but when you get a lot of stones, you sort of run out of options. So I have this bookshelf here full of containers with my healing stones. And the reason that I have so many is because I never quite know what I'm going to use in a healing session. And so what I like to do is, after speaking with someone about what it is that they are looking for out of a session, I will go through my stones and I'll sort of scan the areas with the stones, and when I get to a place that feels energetically right, I'll pull out that container and scan my hands over the crystals inside and pull out the ones that I know will work for that person. So, you know, that's one way I use the crystals, and I'll usually take about 20 or 30 stones with me to a healing session. Most of the time I don't end up using all of them, but I have a nice selection and variety for when I go into the session to be able to use. When storing them, what is the best liner to place them on? So in my opinion, again, natural materials are great, especially darker colors, because if you think about when you're doing your session, you know, your crystals are getting a little ooky, so then you cleanse them and you're putting them away to store them. So darker colors will actually shield out any negativity, so that when the crystals are put away, they are remaining cleansed and cleared. There's no negative energy sort of penetrating through. I mean, over time, of course, you're going to want to recharge your crystals and re-cleanse your crystals, but I feel like the darker colors sort of help. So with those little plastic containers, I've actually started lining them with material so that the crystals aren't sitting directly on the plastic, because I really don't like the way that that feels energetically. And every once in a while I try and open them up and sort of let the crystals breathe a little bit, because I don't like the way that that plastic interacts with them, but I really don't have a better option at this point with so many stones. A lot of people will recommend storing the crystals in individual silk pouches, which, if that resonates with you, that's fine. The reason for that is because silk, again, is very, very shielding, similar to the dark color energy. I personally don't use silk because it's not cruelty-free, and I'm sort of all about the animals, even the little silkworms, so that's not something that I would personally use, but many people find that energetically it does keep the crystals clear. You know, many people say to use the red fabric too energetically, and I think that it's just a personal preference, whatever you find works. I like violet. I think that the violet energy is sort of really high vibrational, high frequency energy, so you know, I don't always use black, but a lot of people prefer to use black or even navy blue, but I like that nice violet purple color myself.